All right, good people, what's up? I am the determined black man, John Jay, and today, as usual, I am determined to reach someone, if not each and every one of you all that are listening to the sounds of my voice. Um, Today, I'm doing another project, do it
DIY.
yourself. I'm not doing it for myself, but it's something that you can do for yourself, and so I wanted to expound on it, and so that you all would have a visual of some things that you could do either around the house to help yourselves, or either some things that you can do to go out and make you some easy, quick bucks. Um, I already shared one that I I captioned it a way to make $250 a day, and I gave you all a brief description, and I gave you a walkthrough on how I took everything down that was on the walls, the pictures. I took all the nails out of the walls. I um I just gave you a brief walkthrough on how to remove all of your outlet covers, how to remove all of your switch covers, and how to tape off things so that you don't get paint on stuff that and it makes your paint look clean when you get done. But not only that, it actually keeps the paint all the stuff that it doesn't belong. But for the most part, it makes your paint look more clean and professional. So that's why I like to tape things off. FYI, so that things look a lot cleaner and more professional. So, especially when I'm doing it for someone else, I actually take more pride in doing things for other people than I probably even do for myself. Because, and that's not to say the least that I do least for myself, but it's just that when I'm working for someone and they're paying me their hard-earned money or whatever the money come from, it doesn't matter. But if they're paying me to do a job, then when they get done paying me, I want them to be satisfied with the job, and I want them to feel proud of the money that they spent. So, and not only that, your work speaks for itself. You know, if you do good work, um, people tend to speak on it. And so when they speak on it, they speak amongst other people, and other people tend to hear them. And hey, they might not need you now, but somewhere down the road, issue that they seen that how you did it and fixed it for someone else, they give you a holler, they hit you up. And that's networking 101, and that's good business ethics 101. So, um, and today I got this mask on right now because I'm about to show you all. Um, I'm in a kitchen area, and so when you're in your kitchen areas, um, you have stoves, you have refrigerators, and some people tend to leave that stuff in place. But me personally, it's much easier for me to move it, especially if you only have an electric if you don't, you have a totally electric home. You can you can unplug you can unplug that dryer, you can unplug that washer, you can unplug that stove. You know, things that may be in the way, so that you can get a better angle on um, those corners and stuff that's around it, that's behind it as well. You want to get behind it so that, come the day someone have to replace a refrigerator or replace a stove. The stove they may replace it with may be smaller than the one that's already in that spot, that's already existing in that spot. So you go there and you paint around that spot, and then they go there and have to replace that stove or that refrigerator 6 months later. Paint still fresh, that's all around it. But when they remove that stove or that refrigerator and go back in with the new one that's smaller, then you got an outlined version of the paint, the previous paint that was on the wall. So it's just a few extra steps, but it makes things a whole lot better in the end. So here we are. I'm at I'm at this point now. I'm cleaning up, and also make sure you clean very well. Whenever you do your taping, sure, before you tape any borders, make sure that you go along the border where you see some of this uh, sheetrock that fell out from here when I removed my cover off of my light switch. But that's okay. I can dust that back off. But to get your tape to stick good, you want to make sure that you clean off your border before you apply the tape. You can sweep it down with a clean broom or a brush, but just make sure you clean that down real good. And also remove all the spider webs and dust particles that may be in the corners. All that stuff tends to get in your brush, make your brush real gritty and grimy, and it affects the way you paint. It affects the way the paint lays on the wall and how the paint looks on the wall. It leaves micro elements in the paint that it just don't look good. I like to make everything look good. If I'm gonna get paid to do it, then I'm gonna try to do it the right way. So as I was just alluding to, move your stove. It's simple. You pull it out a little bit, far enough to get to the plug, unplug it from the wall. Um, you can see right there is where the plug was at. I pulled it out far enough where I could reach over there. I unplugged it. And now I'm sweeping up a little trash that was underneath it. And you see how much trash can accumulate right underneath the stove where you cook it. Right where you cook it. So it's okay every now and then, this is the beginning of spring. We coming up on the beginning of spring, and people tend to do spring cleaning. I know back when I was growing up, my grandparents was adamant about it, especially my mother's mother. She believed in spring cleaning. Seemed like summer, winter, fall, and spring. But as I said, remove those items, get behind them, clean real good, because you're gonna have some you're gonna have some grit and some grime up underneath the refrigerator or stove that's been parked for, several years. Clean that up. It don't look very clean, but it was much worse. I got all the top layer off, and I had to go back and mop it to get all the rest of that up. But I got all the dust and grime off the walls that was in the corners, so that it won't get in my brush, and I can have smooth sailing once I get started painting. Removed all my sockets, my socket covers, and my switch covers. I actually ran out of tape, but let me tell you, if you have this wide tape, what I did, I ran out, but I'm only going to apply it in the most needed areas, and in the other areas, I just have to be careful. Like when I get right here by this thermostat, I'll just be extra careful, and actually, I can remove the front of this with no problem. Yeah, I removed the front of that with no problem. See how easy that was? Don't try to just snatch it off though. You gotta kind of twist it a little bit so it'll get one notch off at a time. But real simple. I can remove that. That way I don't get any paint on that, and it keeps it cleaner looking. When I get done, they come. The people inspect it. They look. It look like this stuff like it's just been plastered on them. Like somebody just came in like it's wrapped, like a car being wrapped. It ain't no runs, no dust particles, none of that stuff. And that's what I like. But like I was saying, I ran out of tape on this job. Gotta give me some more tape. So naturally this tape is this wide. But what I did here in my most visible places, I took the tape, made sure I taped off good, but I cut it. I spliced it down the middle. Once I put it up, I spliced it. Gave me a little extra tape. I'm gonna go back and cover up some more areas, like this sign right here. I'm gonna tape it off like I did this one. I just need the edges covered. All that stuff make a big difference. When you lay that paint down, those edges still gray as they are now instead of the color of the paint that's gonna be on the wall. Come back with clean, fresh paint. Remove the tape from covering it, and it just flows. It flows. You know what I'm saying? It flows. So I removed the TV off of the wall as well. I don't want to paint around no TV. I don't want to paint all up inside the TV and in the little cracks and crevices and stuff. A lot of people do it and they say, well, I'll just clean it off later. But that's actually more work. When you got to go back and clean all that paint off that stuff, it's much easier just to remove stuff, tape stuff, and stuff like that. It helps you in the end. And not only that, you're not guaranteed to be able to get all that paint out of that TV. So I'm going to leave the bracket on the wall because the bracket on the TV actually covers that bracket up. So you wouldn't be able to see once I cut it, once I paint that and cut around it, you won't be able to see anything. And once that bracket comes down, if I took that bracket down and mounted it back up there, once that bracket come down a couple years from now, that spot gonna need to be repainted anyway. Yep. So we're not gonna worry too much about that one as we would those other ones that would be visible. And just like I said about the stove, you come back and you replace it with something smaller or something, then you can still see it. In this case, that's not really gonna happen. I doubt it very seriously. By the time they replace this TV, because it's fairly new, for one, they'll go back with another TV that could go right back up on that same hinge, right up on that same wall mount. So it won't matter. They won't need to be here or there. Anyway, we go back with a new TV on that same bracket and slap it right back up there. All right, so that's it for now. I just wanted to give you all uh, just a little briefing on how to handle situations in a kitchen area. So I know you're not going to have this type of stuff in these type of you're not going to run into these type of issues in a living room. You know, you're going to automatically move the couch out the way. You're going to automatically move any furniture like dressers and stuff like that. You're going to move them to the center and possibly cover them up or either move them into the next room. Uh, Whereas with stoves, people are a little reluctant to move them because they're afraid to mess them up or they don't know that it's simple like this, you know. And I've had it been a gas stove, I would just pull it out as far as the gas pipe would allow me to. And in some cases, depending on the case and how hard it is for me to get around it, then yeah, I would shut off the gas. I would turn the gas off and either cap that line off or just keep the gas off until I'm done, which in most cases I could just keep it off until I'm done because I don't have a need for gas. Um, I don't like painting in the wintertime when it's cold and people got the heater on the inside. So, and I don't like doing it on the outside because of the moisture. And this is it. So anyway, I hope you all have much success with any of your DIY projects, do-it-yourself projects, or I hope that you all have much success in utilizing some of these DIY projects also as a way to make money, as a way to make capital. You know what I'm saying? To be able to feed yourself, feed your loved ones. Hey, I'm wearing the mask still. I'm not in the room with no one. I still had a mask on because as I sweep and I dust off the walls and get all the dust down off the walls, that stuff flying around. I don't know about y'all, but I'm very allergic, so I have to be cautious and stuff like that. And so when I know it's dust flying or something like that, if I'm sweeping a rug or something, I'm gonna put a mask on regardless. That's even prior to COVID, but because of COVID, I have an endless supply almost of masks. So this surgical mask is just fine. I don't have to have on an N95 or anything like that. You can put on a regular cloth mask or just one of these surgical masks. Just enough to keep the dust particles from flying all up in my nose, you know what I'm saying? And I do have gargles as well. I put gargles. much paint to apply to your applicators. You don't want to oversaturate them with paint. Up here you see, clean cut. Clean cut. And that's it, folks. Y'all be sure to subscribe, follow, like, whatever, you know. I'm just encouraging some of my people out here to do things that they can do for themselves, whether it be for monetary gain or just to be able to do it to help yourself. With that said, y'all know what I always say. Y'all stay up, stay humble, stay good people. I love y'all. I wish y'all the best. I'm out. A determined black man, John J. One. Y'all stay up. Be safe out there, y'all. Let's get this money.